Greetings to you once again, saints. It is my pleasure to meet with you again on our program. Tell Me, Pastor. Like we have said, this is the parallel of the Shona version, Konai Pastor. So today we want to answer yet another question that one of us here has asked, and I'm taking this to be a follow-up question to what we have studied before, especially in regards to the state of the dead. Let's take the question as it is and as it came. The question is saying, is it biblically right to conduct memorial services? Is it correct biblically to conduct some memorial services? That is what the question is saying. And I'm sure we once had a discourse on this one, but it was in Shona, of course. So since we once discussed this one, I won't take much time on this one. I'll just have to be straight and to the point. But before I start reading from the Bible, let me say we need to appreciate the fact that as a people, especially African people, our biggest challenge is our background. And this does not only apply to us. Many other religions, they do confirm consciousness in death. So many other religions. And African traditional religion is one such a religion which emphasizes so much on consciousness on death. It doesn't teach that when a person has died, they are unconscious, they know nothing. They teach that when a person has died, they would have graduated to another state, into another state and form, and we can continue our conversation with them, our relationship with them, though they are in another state. That is what we have been brought up, to believe. And it becomes very difficult now, especially when you embrace Christianity, which teaches otherwise, for you to easily let off such a strongly binding umbilical cord. So you'll discover that this issue of the state of the dead has always been a thorny issue, especially to us as Africans. So coming back to the question now, is it right to conduct memorial service? And I want to assume the person who has asked is saying, okay, all right, fine. I've seen the Bible is clear about the state of the dead. They know nothing, they're unconscious. But how is it that people now conduct memorial services? And I should also be quick to answer and say memorial services are not biblical. You won't find any single biblical incident where they held a memorial service. Rather, memorial services are Christianized ATR practices. When we say Christianized ATR practices, we mean these are African traditional religious practices that have been garbed with a Christian robe so that they appear acceptable, modern, and less archaic and backward. People no longer want to be seen, doing those yesteryear rituals where they invite a nganga, a sangoma, and so forth. They want to make the whole process now become Christian. Even a pastor is invited to the memorial service. The Bible is read, people pray. But you'll discover that the process itself has not changed per se. The principle behind the same thing has not changed. In the African traditional religion, when they are doing their services called the Umbuyiso, Kurovagua, etc., a date will be set after day of burial where people are, told when they will meet again to go through this very important service where they will be bringing back, so it is said, the spirit of this beloved dead. And in today's memorial service, it's almost the same thing. From the day of burial, you go back to your places knowing fully well that next year about this time or on such a particular date we'll be coming back again here to gather in memory of our beloved one. So it's the same process, is the same principle, but it's now Christianized. It has been baptized, it has been attired with a Christian garb and robe, and people think they are doing something that is Christian or biblical, yet there is nothing Christian or biblical about that practice. The Bible is very clear. When you come to Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5, it says here, "For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing." I've heard someone who says, you can't quote that verse because Solomon was speaking philosophically, you didn't mean it literally. But Solomon is saying the living know that they will die. There is nothing philosophical about that statement. It's as literal as it is, and we should take it as it is, because even our daily lives and our practices prove that we all know that one day we are going to die. If this was not a truth then no funeral service company will be thriving to this day. People will not be taking funeral policies because we would not know that we would die. But the fact that we spend certain, substantial amounts of our salaries and whatever it is that we work for towards preparing for death proves what Solomon is saying here, that we know that we will die. So it's literal. We all know that one day we are going to die. That's why people write wills. They know that they will die. But the dead know nothing. So it's literal. Solomon is giving us facts of life. The living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no more reward, and the memory of them is forgotten. Their memory is now forgotten. And people go ahead and say we are conducting a memorial service in memory of. Yet the Bible is saying their memory is forgotten. And we are saying we are holding a service in memory of. So you need to ask yourself, under whose banner are you holding such services? When you come to Revelation chapter 14, verse 13, it says, "Then I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, Write, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors. Their works follow them." This is the way we remember our beloved dead. When we look at what they did, their footprints, the marks that they left, the works which they did, those are the ones that make us remember our beloved dead. Not to set a particular date on the calendar and say on such particular date we will be remembering our dead. No, but daily we can remember them because we see what they did when they were still alive. So when you find yourself organizing a program to remember the dead, then you are going against a plain biblical principle. You are going against a plain biblical principle. Stephen died. We are not told that anyone held a memorial service for him. John the Baptist was beheaded by Herod. Christ was still alive. He could have instructed the disciples that they were supposed to hold a memorial service for him. They didn't do that. Not only that, Jesus himself died. We don't see any one of the apostles holding a memorial service for him. So we need to ask ourselves, when we are doing these things, under whose banner are we doing them? And when were these things initiated into the Christian faith? Because we don't see any of the early Christians and early Christian church doing such practices. So I would say it is not biblical to conduct memorial services, but it doesn't mean that we don't remember our dead. By their works, we remember them. We know what they did. We can talk about what they did. There is nothing wrong with that. God bless you. Amen.